Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we're playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one is a community cast sent in by Archer, and he's playing Dwarfs against the Vampire Coast. So this is a fun one actually, I really like this. So, very cheap front line. You see miners in the front, he's got some rangers. Rangers I think are just perfect in this matchup. The fact that they can stalk, it just means that they're not going to get picked off by guns before they can find a target and start firing at something themselves. So they always get that nice opening volley, you know, they don't get wiped out on the approach, which is really cool. Also, Bugman's rangers, if they do get wrapped up in melee, they can fight basically forever because they have regeneration. So they have the same advantages of rangers, except even if they do get bogged down by a load of zombie summons and things, they're just going to fight their way out of it on their own, which is awesome. So very cool. I really like that as a sort of, well, not a front line, but they're kind of in the front-ish. Also, a load of mines with blasting charges. These guys, the miners, well, the blasting charge is going to do a lot of damage on their own, and then these guys have the combat stats to be able to fight off zombies pretty happily, and they have a bit of armor piercing in case there is anything armored in the front line. It can help, you know, it can be fairly cost effective against things like rotting Prometheans and stuff that actually will just clean up a front line like this. At least they can do some damage in kind. Also, there's some Dwarf Warriors with great weapons and some Dwarf Warriors in the back. They're led by Thorgrim Grudgebearer, who I think is a great pick actually. He's got some nice buffs for his nearby units, and he's got a cracking beard, which always helps, but he's got magic damage, which is very handy. So if there are anything, it's, you know, like Serenes or anything like that, any ethereal units, he can just wade in and just kill them straight away. But he is quite a big target. He's a large target, and that can be tough. That can be tough, because artillery is going to be able to hit him very easily. So he's got to watch out for that. But he's got some great abilities. He's got some great abilities, some great buffs. So I really like him. He's pretty damn cool. Also here you can see one bolt thrower and 2 cannons. So a load of artillery, guarded by 2 lots of slayers, and he's got a master engineer here to buff them. So these guys should be able to outmatch any other artillery that they're going to be facing against. And if not, they can just start blasting things, which is great. So his opponent, he has the Black Spot. So the Black Spot, interesting, because they're handgunners, but they also have armor piercing in melee as well. So that's kind of cool. So they got armor piercing whenever. You do pay a little extra for the anti-large, but, you know, it's kind of cool. So if they do get caught up by anything, they're going to be able to fight back, even in melee, which I think is pretty interesting. Also, the front line is just going to be cheap deckhand mobs, so very, very cheap front line. This is just going to bog stuff down. It's not really going to do any damage, but he does have some polearms. Again, you're paying for the anti-large, but they've still got the armor piercing, so that can help against the dwarfs. But he's got some gunnery mobs with handguns, so he's got another 2 of those, and, well, 3 with the Black Spot, I guess. But he's also got Shade Wraith gunners, so the magic damage is going to get negated a bit, which is unfortunate when you're fighting dwarfs, but they can still snipe out very powerful things quite easily. Thorgrim is going to be a very nice target for them, and that -16 leadership is going to be great just to help break the odd unit that is trying to get into the back line. You can use these guys very defensively, just to go, oh, something's approaching me, I'll stop that from doing so. You know, you just break it nice and quickly. Also, he has some other deck gunners. These guys have Shield Breaker, which is pretty handy, as well as just being great for sniping out lords and heroes. So again, very bad for Thorgrim. Here you can see he has a Vampire Fleet Captain of Vampires, which I think is the best one, but you see he's got all the spells. He's got all of the spells, which is bad. That's a mistake. Really just needs Invocation, Heck, and Drown Dead, and he's perfectly fine. I think that's all you need, because he's got 2 spellcasts. He's got Silostra Diaphat as well, and I think that's a massive waste, because again, she has all the spells too. It gives a lot of versatility for these 2, but it's too expensive. Don't do that. Don't bring all the spells. You need a spellcaster, right? Well, you say this all the time. Always bring a spellcaster. Don't bring 2 with every spell. That is so expensive. He could have probably got another 2 units of deckhands out of the money from that. Maybe more, honestly. So here you can see Rotting Prometheans. These guys are going to be super useful. Huge amount of armor piercing. That's the one. Armor piercing, weapon strength. Very capable of killing a lot of dwarves. But they're very big targets. And with a load of artillery in the back, yeah, that's going to be tough for them. But Silostra can summon more, so that's pretty cool. Also here you can see a Mourngul Haunter, real bane to any dwarfs. They are so good. They've got some good missile resist, and they've got the hunger, so they're regenerating combat, and they're going to do a lot of damage, huge amount of weapon strength, and anti-infantry, so it is brutal. It's brutal. So we're going to speed things up. So, opening volleys coming in. He's going for the handguns. So he wants to get rid of the handgunners nice and early. Leadership, already pathetic, but it is starting to go back up. But yeah, you can wipe out a unit pretty quickly of handguns if you just get some good fire on them early. They will suffer very fast. They don't have the best leadership. I mean, let's look at... I mean, they have, what, 43 Yeah, it's not great. You're going to be able to whittle them down. For some reason, though, the leadership bars, I don't know what it is. They seem to have changed. Or they're broken in replays. One or the other, but a lot of the time when things are crumbling, they still have this bar fold. It's a bit weird. I don't know what's happening there, but that's been happening lately. So if that happens, yeah, I'll be sure to point out things that are crumbling that don't look like they're crumbling if I can. Anyway, so Silostra taking some fire, but it doesn't matter too much. She's got a lot of physical resist, so she's quite happy to take some damage if it means the rest of her units aren't going to be taking it. Here, though, huge amount of damage on Thorgrim. Yep, he's getting gunned down by all the deck gunners and the Shade Wraith gunners. It's very, very bad for him. He's going to take a lot of damage very quickly from all of this. So, yeah, run away, Thorgrim. Don't be doing that. Anyway, here you can see the gunnery mobs are getting taken out, which is very good, so a load of ranger fire coming in. The Mongol Haunter is posed to come into the back, but he's not great against Slayers. Slayers are the one thing that can really wrap him up and kill him quickly, so you don't want him running into the back line and getting caught out by the Slayers. But he is pretty good for putting some pressure on. See here, the Bolt Thrower is kind of on his own. And of course the Mongol Haunter does stalk, so you can't necessarily see him coming. So if he's got the camera here and is preoccupied moving everything here, he's not necessarily going to see anything get into his back line. So that's pretty cool. So here the Vampire Fleet Captain is taking some damage. Thorgrim, you can see, has taken a huge amount of damage. It's really brutal. It's not good. He can't heal it anyway, so it's not ideal. So here the gunnery mobs are getting taken out, but this artillery, it should be firing at either Shade Wraith gunners or the deck gunners. These guys will just melt under fire very quickly. These guys are crumbling now. And here, as you can see, blasting charges are doing their job. They're doing their job very well. Here the Rotting Prometheans are running in. That's actually a better target for the artillery now that they're in the front line. Yeah, and they're still firing at the handguns. Probably not a good idea. Get rid of those Rotting Prometheans as quickly as you can. I mean, they're taking some pretty good damage at the moment. So here, very, very clever tactics. He comes in for the Bolt Thrower. The Bolt Thrower crew runs away, and the Slayers run in to plug up the gap. So no harm done, really. It takes the Bolt Thrower offline for a little bit, but the Mongol Haunter couldn't get any value there. Not really. And now the Bolt Thrower is moving back on. Here, though, Silostra is moving into the front line, and she's casting a Vangeist's Revenge. So this is very scary. Luckily, the Bugman's Rangers do get out of the way, but the rest of his units aren't so lucky. So even damaging the Dwarf Warriors over here, but this front line got absolutely tattered, and the Bugmans have had to retreat a bit. So still some probing going on at the back line. Thorgrim has taken a huge amount of damage, and the cannon is still firing at these gunnery mobs. You don't need to keep firing at these. Fire at something else. There's other units that can do more damage to more valuable units of yours. Namely Thorgrim. Yeah, take out the deck gunners quickly as you can. So here, looks like the Mongol Haunter is trying to get involved with the Slayers, which is not a wise idea, but it's keeping the Slayers distracted, and now the Rotting Prometheans are being spawned in. So that's interesting. But with all this stuff busy, I think the Rotting Prometheans could have just recharged into this stuff to try and take it out nice and quickly, or charged into these units to take them out nice and quickly. But nope, he's going for the artillery. Mongol Haunter taking a huge amount of damage, but Tide of Skjold have arrived, and this Vampire Fleet Captain is going to summon some more zombies. So suddenly, these Slayers are very, very busy. The Mongol Haunter's able to get out. He can go attack what he likes. I would have attacked something in here. I think just charge him through all the archers. He can kill these rangers very, very quickly, and he has the weapon strength to kill models. So Bugman's Rangers aren't going to regenerate if you can kill the units. It's only the the models that'll regenerate and get the health back. But if they're dead, they're dead. So the Mongol Haunter is great for running through this kind of stuff, and it's very hard to catch him out. So over here, Rotting Prometheans have got fairly caught out, but you can see the Slayers are starting to get pretty whittled down. They're taking a huge amount of damage, and the artillery crews can't really keep out of the way very easily. And now the Mongol Haunter's charging back in. He is drawing some fire from all the Rangers, but the Rangers aren't going to be able to do a huge amount of damage to him, because he does have the missile resist, which is pretty good. Thorgrim trying to chase down Silostra. I mean, she's ethereal. If Thorgrim can hit her once or twice, she is dead. It's ridiculous. She relies just on the physical resist. She has 0 armor, so that magic damage of Thorgrim's, it's all going to register. It's going to do a ton of work. So, very scary. So here, now, beautiful shot straight down the side. It's doing a lot of damage to these Rangers, but the whole front line is buckled, so now all the Dwarfs are advancing onto this juicy, juicy pocket of units. There are some pole arms still guarding, but it's not looking great in the back there. All the Dwarves running forwards, it's bad. So here now all the heroes are on Thorgrim. Thorgrim is not going to be able to fight the Mongol Haunter very well. He is a large target, so he's not going to get the anti-infantry, but the Mongol Haunter still packs a punch, still does so much damage. It's kind of ridiculous how much damage he can do. So Thorgrim's in a lot of trouble here, but luckily the Slayers are in the fight now, and they're able to drag him down pretty damn well. So here you can see the Mongol Haunter is getting dragged down. Invocation to heck on him, try and heal him up. So definitely wise, you want to keep that Mongol Haunter alive. But he is crumbling now. His leadership just dropped a huge amount. I guess taking a big amount of damage from Thorgrim and being surrounded by Slayers, it's enough to drag him down, which is pretty great. But Thorgrim is looking a bit beaten up. But luckily, so is this Vampire Fleet Captain. Fleet Captain just not capable of fighting a ton of Slayers and Thorgrim. Just no. No, he's a good combatant, but he's not a tank. He's not able to fight all that stuff. Here, though, the damn Knights Errant are running in to try and bail him out, but it might be too late. Also here, you can see that Invocation Heck did not restore the Mongol Haunter to high enough health for him to get back in the fight. He is too injured, he is still crumbling. So that's pretty bad. These damn Knights Errant, though, again, ethereal unit, so Thorgrim is going to do a ton of damage on them. It's just crazy how much damage he can do. So they're running off to try and deal with the last of these Slayers. Nice rear charge is going to help cripple them. But there's a load of Dwarfs in the back line, most of which have actually been chased off. They weren't able to get in there with enough force. So now Rangers, running out of ammo, are having to just run in, which is pretty bleak. And damn Knights Errant, yeah, still got a fair amount of health. They're trying to keep away from Thorgrim, which is wise. But yeah, they're not able to do a huge amount of work. They don't have a huge amount of armor piercing themselves. Silostra is still chilling out, but the Mongol Haunter, not long for this world, is just going to charge in, see if he can at least get a hit on something. So, still Shade Wraith guns firing into this mess. Only 26 kills, not a huge amount of kills. Same with the deck gunners, not a huge amount of kills. But they do a lot of damage to things like Thorgrim. So they should have stayed on Thorgrim. Even if it meant moving up, they should have tried to get into position. And here you see, yeah, the Master Engineer used that ring of Throny or whatever it is, the fire thing. Used that. Anyway, also Thorgrim, yeah, he's going to be able to finish off the damn Knights. And now Silostra, probably having given up at this stage, decides that she's cocky enough that she can fight Thorgrim. Magic damage be damned, it doesn't matter. I'm the best, I can shout at storms. She's running in. She's screwed though, look at this. Yeah, just melts. And at that point, everything else is going to disintegrate due to army losses. Bye now. Silly zombies. And that's a win. But yeah, damn cool fight though. I do like the Dwarfs in this matchup. I think it can be quite interesting. Dwarfs can actually go a few different ways, but you've always got to go pretty wide. You can never go sort of small and elite. You will just get focused down, and you'll lose valuable unit after valuable unit. It makes it very, very difficult. But there's a lot of different things that have a lot of different utility. You know, just cheap things like Rangers get a lot of value. So you can go quite wide to bring a lot of cheap units like that. You know, miners with blasting charges, they only cost 400. But those blasting charges are going to get a lot of work done. And then they've got the armor piercing. So if they do, you know, the Vampire Ghost does go very small and armored and elite, just, you know, rotting Promethean spam or something, then they're actually going to get some good work done. They're going to be able to actually do some work with that armor piercing for very cheap. So there's a lot of interesting utility you can get out of a lot of dwarf units that are cheap, which I think is kind of cool. Even just standard dwarf warriors. They've got shields, they've got armor, so they can fight things like zombie deckhand mobs happily in melee. The deckhand mob just aren't going to get the damage in, but they've got the shields to keep them safe from things like the handguns. So again, handguns, they might, you know, they might be able to wipe out some dwarf warriors with, you know, enough shots, but at that point, you're not really paying, you know, it's not a fair trade, right? If it takes a whole battle for one of these to take out a dwarf warrior unit, they're not paying for themselves. So it's really interesting. So I like how the dwarves play here, but certain things like Thorgrim can get sniped out really easily. So certain, you know, things that you kind of need for your dwarfs, for the utility, things like rune lords and rune smiths and things, they can get taken out very easily, which makes it tough. So there's a bit of back and forth. But I do like the dwarves in this matchup. I think it's a good one. And yeah, very well played by Archer. Yeah, biggest sort of plus, I guess, with this game is just microing the cannons. Well, it's a plus and a minus. Keeping the artillery crews like off the cannons if they were getting attacked, and, you know, hiding behind the Slayers, constantly sort of dropping the artillery and running when you need to, rather than just staying there and getting killed. That is great, but I think targeting, the priorities are a little bit iffy. I think they're a little bit off. Because, yeah, that one unit handguns was taking cannon fire for most of the game, and it just didn't need to be. I think you could have spread out the damage more, gone for the rotting Prometheans that you knew were going to do some damage. Things like that. I think swap around a bit more. But excellent work keeping them safe for as long as you did. The amount of pressure on that back line was pretty ridiculous. So yeah, really well played there. It was really cool. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.